Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the final week of the GTPlanet League. 4 weeks of racing has come down to this. We got our big championship race tonight. Myself, Chris McCarthy, and Andrew Mather are here to call you through the action. Andrew, well, this is going to be a big week, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's been the week we've all been waiting for, and it's kind of a reset of everything that we've seen so far. We've had 4 weeks of fantastic racing, but I've got this massive feeling every single team that we've got competing tonight, they've all got something to prove, whether it be unbeaten records, beating an adversary that they've already lost to earlier in the season. It's going to be a fantastic night, and I can't wait for us to get things started.
Well, that big match off we're talking about is, of course, Redline and Williams. That's coming up later, though. So first of all, we've got to sort out third and fourth place, and we're going to be doing that in the shape of Thrustmaster versus Lazarus. So that match off is coming first, and then later on we decide the winner of the GTPlanet League. So, Andrew, let's get straight into it, shall we? Let's talk you through what you're going to be seeing tonight. Let's start with our first match off. As we said, it's going to be Thrustmaster versus Lazarus. We've got a few details coming up on that before we get into the race. They're currently qualifying at the moment, so we have a bit of time. Andrew, we've got something to give away this evening. First time we're going to be doing it. We're going to be giving away a free T-shirt. They were being sold only at the US events, the FIA event we had going on over there. So it's the official Gran Turismo World Tour 2019 T-shirt. They were only available in New York at the World Tour event, and they were sold out there, but there is one more still to go out. And if you keep watching later on, you'll find out how you can win it. And why wouldn't you want to keep watching on? Our second matchup is, of course, for the GTPlanet League itself. Andrew, that's a great giveaway, isn't it, of course? And before we've got that, we've got some fantastic racing coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. A limited edition prize that I know is very, very popular at the World Tour events. And great by GTPlanet as well to organise being able to give that giveaway to everyone who's really supported the GTPlanet League over the last 4 weeks. It's a really good prize to win, and yeah, definitely stick about to see how you can get your hands on it.
Good stuff. Well, thank you to all the supporters of the GTPlanet League. All the feedback has been excellent, and it's helped us create a fantastic league with fantastic racing with the best drivers in the world. Let's introduce you to some of those drivers now in our first match. It is, of course, going to be Thrustmaster versus Lazarus. Let's start with Thrustmaster for you. And here are going to be their driver lineup. Angel Winnestroza laureate, of course, he is going to be racing, winner of the SCE with 10th. We've got Didico next, Adriano Carazza, 2 top 3 finishes, including 1 win in the first week. We've got Nico R there as well. Everyone knows him from the World Tour events, and he's the #1 ranked driver in the league with 4 wins. And then Randall Hayward, Originals 14, GTPlanet Endurance Series champion, and had a good race with second in race 2 of the semi-finals. So he's a driver in form, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'd be really good to see them get a win tonight. But the team that's going to try to stop them is Lazarus. Now, of course, these two teams met in week number 3. Here is Lazarus's lineup tonight. All regular faces. Matthew Thomas is back. He's been in good form so far this season. Florent Pagente returns for Lazarus. Lewis Bentley, another driver who's been strong across the course of the season. And Calster, a 1 week older, 1 week wiser. He's as well. Look out, one of the fastest drivers from the UK there. That's your team for Lazarus this evening.
It is a very strong lineup. Let's look at where they're going to be racing. And match 1 is going to be in the Pagani Zonda, and we're going to go to the Suzuka circuit. It's going to be 6 laps per race. They're qualifying, which will set the grid for the first race, and then it will be a reverse grid for the second race. Points being scored throughout. Wherever you finish, you score points for your team. At the end of 2 races, we will have the winner who has the most points taking the overall victory after 2 races. So kind of 12 laps to decide this one. 8 drivers on track, 4 from each team, Andrew, and it's going to be pretty interesting in those Zondas around Suzuka.
It is indeed Suzuka, a classic circuit, very popular in the motorsport community. Qualifying, I think, is either just about to finish or has finished already. But yeah, 35 seconds remaining. There's Nico Rublar. Nico, our top-ranked driver in the GTPlanet League so far, has been in impeccable form, and we'll be hoping, the whole Thrustmaster team will be hoping tonight, if one driver in this league deserves a match victory, it's this driver right here, going through 130R at the moment, looking very, very quick indeed, and at the moment he is on pole position as well, almost by over half a second, Chris.
Yeah, it's been a tough one for Thrustmaster, isn't it? They haven't yet won a match, lost it all in the round robin, and then lost the semi-finals last week to Redline. But Nico R is going to bring us across the line, and he's going to set a time which is going to be very difficult for the rest of the field today. It's provisional pole position. We've got Originals in second. Here is Didico coming out of the chicane through the final. Right-hander he comes. Can he improve on his 4th place? Let's have a look. No, he can't. Calster is going to be next along. Calster, in fact, I think has already finished. He's going through the S's, so he's already finished his lap. I believe that's everyone home and dry. LZR Lewis, the last of the drivers to come across the line, and LZR Lewis takes the shortest run to the line, but cannot get an improvement on his 8th place. So some of the Lazarus drivers down the back, that was a very good qualifying for the Thrustmaster team. Overall, they've got Nico R at the top there. They've got Originals in 3rd place as well, and they've got Loiret in 2nd. In fact, all the top 4 Thrustmaster drivers. So Lazarus, Andrew, have just given themselves a lot of hard work to do in this first race.
Yeah, and of course they're coming off the back of that absolute drubbing at the hands of Williams Esports last week. Oh, Calster goes for a little spin there. 2 spins, 3 spins into the gravel, but it doesn't matter anyway because qualifying's already over. But yeah, you know, the Lazarus team really, I think, were quite stunned by how Williams performed last week, and they've really got to get themselves together and bounce back. The qualifying was a massive, massive part of what determined how the match against Williams went last week. Williams locked out 1st through 4th, controlled the race, and in fact took the match run even before we got onto the 2nd race. So there's going to be a lot to do here for Lazarus to avoid exactly the same thing happening again.
Yep, Lazarus have got to move forward and try and move forward very, very quickly. Well, what did you think of that one? That is the result. Let us know through social media. Give us a tweet at GTPlanet News. You can get us on Facebook at GTPlanet and Instagram at GTPlanet News. We want messages coming in all the way through. Who's your money on for this one? Who's your money on to take the whole championship a little bit later on? Let us know. We've got 2 fantastic races coming up, though, in the 3rd, 4th place playoff here between Thrustmaster and Lazarus, and on pole position it's going to be Nico R for Thrustmaster. The front 2 rows Thrustmaster, the 2nd Lazarus. 6 laps of racing in this first of 2 races. Follow the live points as we go along. They'll be updated regularly. That'll tell you who is going to be ahead as we go on to the start. Then here we go. Nico R leading us down towards turn number 1. Originals there is going to try and come up the inside, though. Originals not able to get through, and Calster there, well, just getting caught out on the outside. So Calster's going to slot into 3rd place. That's good for Lazarus. They've already gone up a place. They're into 3rd with Calster, but in the points it's going to be Thrustmaster with a big advantage at the moment. Nico R leading the way as they make their way up through the S's here. Through the left-hander we go, and Nico R through safely in 1st. I think everyone actually got through safely, so no incidents at the start, Andrew, and we set off for one of 6 laps.
Absolutely, but what a huge start that was from Calster. That was absolutely imperative that one of the Lazarus drivers was able to get themselves amongst those 4 Thrustmaster drivers. They've got to play the long game here with the grid positions that they've had through qualifying. Remember, the second race will be a reverse grid of the result of this first race of the night. Calster there in third, scoring the points at the moment, which at this stage, if the race was to finish right now, would mean that Lazarus would have a chance of winning the match in race number 2. Coming through Spoon Corner now, and he seems to be really challenging the back here of Originals 14. May have a run on him on the run up to 130R.
Yep, Calster in a bit of a bad run of form recently. Had 2 races to forget last time out, but has had some good ones earlier in the league as well. But through 130R we go. We go on board with Calster. We can see Originals just ahead of us. Nico R, as he tends to do in these first races, already escaping out front. And Calster in the Pagani Zonda making his way through the final corner. Can just see Thrustmaster pulling away out front. You can see the points to the bottom left of your screen. It is actually very close, helped by the fact that Calster has moved up the field. We've got Jomas up into 4th place as well. So LZR Thomas is 5th, LZR Lewis 6th. You can see the full classification to the left there. Didico, not a good start for him. He rounds out the field at the moment and has clearly ran into some problems somewhere, because Didico has dropped off the back of the field, Andrew.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there, but overall I think Lazarus will be pretty pleased with that first lap. All 4 of their drivers have made 2 positions, and as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, just that pole position for Nico Rubelar, is what is giving Thrustmaster the lead at the moment. Here we're looking at Yoma 74, Flower and Passion Day going through the first Degners at the moment. And this is where Lazarus can now start to build in this particular race, because they've got their 4 drivers together. They can now start working with one another and trying to put the pressure now on Randall Haywood and Nico Rubelar up ahead of them. The gap between 2nd and 3rd, as we've joined Calster once again, about 7/10 seconds, so especially when they get onto the long straights, again up to 130R, Calster will just about be in the suck zone, as our good friend Super GT would call it. It will start to get the effect of the slipstream, may be able to line up and move into the Casio Triangle.
Let's find out. He's a little bit far back at the moment, Calster. Not able to get to the back, or not able to get within a distance to throw one down the inside of Originals. So Originals doing very well in 2nd place at the moment, but Calster scoring some very valuable points here for Lazarus. And don't forget, this race, of course, this match, won over 2 races, and at the moment the points are in Thrustmaster's favour. That is helped by the fact that LZR Lewis has hit some problems somewhere and is just coming through the chicane at the moment. So I'm not too sure what happened to LZR Lewis Bentley, that is, of course, but he is off the back of the field, and we might get a replay. In fact, this is LZR Lewis there, so into the chicane, and I think it had already gone pear-shaped for him before that, but never mind. That's the results we know, and that is that he's off the back of the field and 16 seconds behind this man, which is, of course, Nico R, the Chilean driver, leading the way at the moment from Originals. It's looking good for Thrustmaster, a 6-point advantage they would take into the 2nd race if the flag was to go out now. They took a point for pole position in qualifying, and at the moment they have the fastest lap of this race with Nico R, and that is why they have the 22 points. So Lazarus, if they can get the fastest lap, can take one of those points back. And Andrew, I'd say that is really all LZR Lewis can do at the back of the field there for them.
Yeah, he's just got to, again, play the long game here and hope he can get the pace back up. And you never know what could happen in the remaining 3 laps of this race. We're looking here at the other Chilean driver on the Thrustmaster lineup, FT Loirot, currently in 6th place. LZR Thomas just ahead of him. But I think that some of the mistakes that we've seen already here tonight really typifies Suzuka as a circuit. It's a proper old school circuit. I mean, yes, you've got a couple of tarmac runoffs here and there, but the high-speed nature of the circuit, with grass linings on either side of the circuit, there's not much room for error around here, and it can punish you very, very quickly if you go a little beyond the limits of what your car, what your own talents, and what the circuit will allow you to do. Race settling down definitely though at this mid-stage. Still on board here, or looking at FD Loyot trying to close in on LZR Thomas there. Gap under 0.7 of a second as we head on to lap number 4.
Well, in terms of being punished for talent around here, I can definitely vouch for that, and maybe me and LZR Lewis could have a chat at the end of the race about that, as he sits way off the back of the field at the moment. Here's LZR Thomas though. He's having a pretty good run at the moment there in 5th place. He won the second of the races in his semi-final last week. So LZR Thomas in form, and at the moment sitting there in 5th place. He's got Loyot not too far behind though, and LZR Thomas is definitely coming under some increasing pressure here. You can see the gap just below his name just starting to come down. As I say that, he's had a good run through the Degners, and it goes up before coming back down once again. Points stay at 22 to 16, but well, Andrew, as we have a bit of a moment in the race where not too much is happening, I guess we can, for those new viewers who have come in to for the final week of the GTPlanet League, talk about some of the fantastic turnarounds we've had from one race to the other. You can catch all of the first 4 weeks back if you haven't missed it, the round robin races and then the semi-finals last week, which were eliminators. Of course, Lazarus and Thrustmaster using those, but one thing we have noticed is it changes a huge amount between race to race with the reverse grid.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you bring that second race in. We've seen a couple of our matches even go down to 1 point, including the round robin match of our between our two finalists. So if you weren't, looking forward to the final already and your appetite wasn't whetted, just that reminder that the last time we saw those two teams go at it, it was 1 point over the 2 races in qualifying that decided it. But then both of these teams as well, Thrustmaster and Lazarus, have been in some really close matches so far this season. I remember back to the very first match that we had between Williams and Thrustmaster, how close that one was in week number 1 as well. LZR Thomas gets a little bit wide there going through turn 1 into turn 2, but he's managed to hook it up quite nicely. He's only lost a tenth and a half, maybe 2 there to Loyot, but just keeping his awareness there together, because that's again Suzuka, this kind of circuit, especially through the S's here, these sweeping corners, he's really got to hook them up, because if you get offline you can lose a lot of momentum as you go towards the Degner curves.
Yeah, that's something that definitely Loyot had a little bit of there as he comes into Degner 2 now. Very hard corner to get that one right. I've ended up in those barriers to your left several times, and there will be several more trips to that next time I play Gran Turismo. But into the hairpin we go, and Loyot's closing up. One thing I was going to say, Andrew, before we hit the last lap, is one thing we've experimented with in the league is some slower cars, if you like, with on tracks. Oh, well, as I say that, thank you very much, Loyot there. How did he save that? That was pretty impressive, actually. But Loyot into the barriers and then faces the right way around again, and we'll probably say he meant it, but hopefully we'll grab a replay of that. But just as he was starting to catch LZR Thomas, Andrew makes that mistake, and that's cost him any chance now of scoring some more valuable points for the Thrustmaster team.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the replay of this. Is coming out of the tight hairpin, and this is what we're talking about. You run a little bit wide around this full Suzuka Grand Prix track, and it bites you, and it bites you big. And there you go, you get the split new situation, hits the barrier on the inside. Well, a combination of good luck there and fantastic car control meant that incident wasn't any worse. But that, I mean, in a way, he had a big, massive gap to Didico behind. The reward for getting another position, another point for his team, that's what he was pushing so hard. You've got to kind of give him credit for that. He was giving absolutely everything at that stage of the race. Just didn't quite work out there. And it should be a comfortable 5th place now for LZR Thomas.
Yeah, well, Nico are leading the way. This is Gouster, though. As we said, didn't have a good run of things last time out with 2 8th places, but this time he's out for redemption and doing a good job at the moment, sitting there in 3rd place. Nico R, though, well, this is going to be his 5th win of the league if he can stay out front, and Originals is in pretty good form as well. He had a 2nd in his last race last week, and Originals on to continue that trend with another 2nd here. It's definitely been a race that has seen seen the quicker guy, should we say, at the front pull away. But Nico R with a gap of 2 seconds there. So this is going to be a really interesting watch when the reverse grid comes next time. The points is going to be 22-16 as long as it stays like this going into the second race. It's going to give Lazarus some work to do, but they will be on pole position with LZR Lewis. But Nico R coming up to 130R for the last time. Thrustmaster desperate to, almost taking a spin there. Wow, what was Nico R thinking? Just running a little bit wide on the grass. No need to do that, Nico. You're 2 seconds ahead, mate. But he's thankfully kept it and won't have that one shown back to him again with embarrassment. But Nico R out of the final corner. He's going to win and take Thrustmaster into race number 2 with a 6-point advantage.
Well, heart in mouth moment there. Something tells me that might have been for the cameras, but Nico R, another win for him. But what a drive as well from Randall Haywood, Originals 14. He was under a lot of pressure throughout the course of that race to not make a mistake. It's his second place of the season. Strong points as well for him, the Thrustmaster. But key drives as well there for Lazarus, for Calster especially. Good to see him back on form there with 3rd place. It's all set up, Chris. This is going to be a tight one, a tight match. And with that reverse grid and how that plays into race number 2, I can't call this one at the moment. I think it's going to be very, very close between these two evenly matched teams.
Trust me, you never can call it. What did you think of that one? Pretty good race to kick us off, right? Interesting race overall. I think Nico R able to demonstrate just how much of a class driver he is and why he's ranked where he is in our driver rankings, taking all of those wins. Let's get to the official results for you. There they are on screen. Let us know what you thought of that one, though. At GTPlanet News on Twitter, GTPlanet on Facebook, at GTPlanet News on Instagram. If you're just with us, we are doing a free giveaway as well with a limited edition t-shirt. We'll tell you more about that in just a sec. But going into race 2, it's 22-16 to Thrustmaster. Good start for them and a nicely balanced field going into the next race, Andrew, the second and final race where we will be giving out the final points for this match. I'd say this one looks pretty well balanced, actually.
It is indeed, and although that wasn't LZR Lewis, it wasn't his best race of the year so far. You've got to remember, especially back in round 1 when they took on Team Redline, he showed some really good pace that evening, took a victory in week 1 and a victory in week 2 as well. So he's definitely got the speed. We know all about Lewis Bentley. We know how good he is. We've seen him do some really good stuff on the World Tour. This, in a way, could work out very, very well for him because he's got that position that Nico Rubelar had in the first race that we saw there. He's got the opportunity. He's got clean air to race away and try and get that at least that max number of points for his team. Another thing that I think is quite key in this one as well is that the 2 drivers that we've seen on form so far tonight for Lazarus, Calster and Florian Pagende, they're going to be ahead of Nico Rubelar and Randall Haywood. They might try some tactics there, try and hold them up, try and get it into a position where the effectiveness of those players on the Thrustmaster team try and nullify it in the early stages of this race. But once again, as we saw in the first race, very, very tricky circuit to negotiate. Anything could happen in this next 6-lap race.
Well, I think that just sums it up nicely there, Andrew. Well, there is LZR Lewis for the Lazarus team. They do not want to end the GTPlanet League with a loss, and LZR Lewis will try to be the lead force in making that happen as we go off, away and racing for race number 2 in match 1. LZR Lewis leading us into turn number 1. No need to defend either, so an immediate gap. But I think that was Calster when flying off at turn 1. Must have just took a little bit of curve mid-corner, and that has sent him wide, but only to 4th place. We'll catch a replay, I'm sure, but LZR Lewis with an immediate gap out front from his teammate LZR Thomas there. This is Calster, who I think ran into some problems there, but not too sure. But it's Lewis, Thomas, Loiret, then we have Calster, Originals, Didico, Nico R and Yomas. That is your order with the points to the bottom left of your screen. As you can see, Lazarus immediately closing that gap.
huge start again from Kelson. That's 2 races in a row that he's made positions up. Not good news though for Lazarus at this stage, but Yoma 74 has slipped to the back of the field. Calster having a little look at the inside of Loyrot there, and Originals 14 right on the 10. Look at this. This is a really good start as well for Originals 14 there. The American Randall Hayward up to P5, and at the moment, if that was a very long way in this race to go, but right now we are tied 30 to 37. This could all come down to who sets the fastest lap in this race.
It's a rare mistake from the Frenchman there, ranked 6 in the driver rankings in the GTPlanet League. As we head down to 130R, there was a moment there for Originals, just running a little bit wide on the exit, but are we going to be side by side through 130R? Loyrot there on the inside, Calster almost brave enough to try the outside. He's going to do that into the chicane as we go through the chicane for the first time, and Calster's done it through the Casio triangle. Calster barges his way through, and he is into 3rd place. Originals drops to 4th place, then it's Didico in 5th, Nico R is up 2 to 6, then it's Jonas and Loyrot in 8th.
All aboard the Calster choo-choo, as it says in the comments, and Originals 14 trying to go round the outside. Brilliant racing here at Suzuka, but these drivers, they know they do not want to come 4th in the first ever GTPlanet League. What a move by Calster though, through the Casio triangle, as you say, Chris, but this is Thrustmaster throwing everything here. They did very well in the semi-final last week and gave Team Redline a big run for their money. They know they've got the speed here. As the points update, it's now 35 to 40. So Lazarus now ahead, and this is the key battle, I think, now, Chris. Can these 3 drivers from Thrustmaster find the way past Calster? But at the moment, he just seems on such good form and is able to soak up this pressure, Calster. And well, the gap is 1.6 seconds up the road to Matthew Thomas and Lewis Bentley, and this is perfect tactics actually from Calster. Hold up the 3 Thrustmaster drivers as long as he can, guarantee the first and second, but he's hit the gravel there and has a massive moment through the long right-hander. Continues to hold up Originals 14. This is brilliant stuff. Edge of your seat stuff here at Suzuka. Who's going to have the good run out of Spoon Corner onto the long straight into 130R? This is brilliant stuff from Calster. He continues to hold that 3rd place. The gap is out 2 seconds now. This is a perfect job. He just needs to keep doing this, and this could hand Lazarus the win in this 3rd place playoff.
Exactly what I was going to say there. Calster there doing a fantastic job, not only making moves but defending as well, being a little bit robust at times, I have to say, but Calster just about getting away with it at the moment. We've got a penalty for Didico there. That must have been a track limits penalty. Yes, it is. It's only a second, so taking too much curb through the Casio triangle clearly, and Calster leading this train of cars into turn number 1. The Zondas heading through to start the 3rd of 6 laps now, and Calster at the moment is in 3rd place with Originals 4th, Didico is 5th, Nico R 6th, Yoma 7th, Loyrot in 8th, but with Lewis and Thomas out front, that's enough points for Lazarus to take the win. And Thrustmaster, they're trying as hard as they can. They want to get 1 win to leave the GTPlanet League, but Lazarus are stopping them from doing that at the moment, and in particular Calster is. Didico trying to knock off his penalty behind. I wonder if it's best for him to move aside and allow Nico R through and see if Nico R can do anything about Calster here in 3rd place, because he has become a roadblock at the moment.
He has indeed. That's quite a smart idea. So quite like the sound of that. The thing he's got to be really careful though is Yoma's 74 there in 7th place. Florent Pageant has the fastest lap at the moment. He's cruised up to the back of this pack after his tricky first lap. He's now in play as well, and he might start trying to just pick off another couple of those Thrustmaster drivers and further extending Lazarus's lead. The gap actually between 2nd and 3rd has started to come down. It's back down to about 1.6 seconds. Calster's not been doing as much defensive driving on this lap, just starting to stretch his legs again. And once again, the control that he's got over this position at the moment, very, very impressive. Thrustmaster have got to do something. They've got to do something tactically on this lap as Didico runs very wide again. And did he lose positions to Yoma 74? Yes, he did. That's crucial. So that's another position for Florent Pagende. He's now up to 6th place, and that will give another 2-point swing in effect in favour of Lazarus. It's absolutely imperative now. Thrustmaster, if they're going to avoid going 0-5 in this league, they have to do something this lap, and I think you're absolutely spot on, Chris. That's got to be get Nico Rublar, Nico R there, currently in 5th place, as far up the order as possible to let him have a challenge and see if he can get past Calster.
Yeah, well, this was a great chance, wasn't it? Of course, we're talking about their win-to-loss ratio throughout 3 of the round robins and, of course, the semi-final. But all of that goes to one side for this race. This is the 3rd place playoff. This is the chance for Thrustmaster to take 1 win and 3rd place with it and take that away from Lazarus, and then not taking the opportunity at the moment. Of course, Calster putting in a really good performance at the moment, considering the luck he had last week wasn't very good one, and Calster a bad performance last week, but coming back well this week. Originals just lets Nico R go by. Their sensible driving, I think, from Randall Haywood. He's allowed Nicolas Rublar into 4th place, but Nicolas Rublar has a lot of work to do and only 2 laps remaining at the end of it to do it.
Yeah, definitely a case of Nico is faster than you there for Originals 14, and good to see they're taking one for the team. Now let's see what Nico Rublar can do. The gap is 1.3 seconds, so he's got to go big now in, well, we've got 2 laps remaining of this one. He's the key man. We've seen it all season. We've seen him take race wins, but right now, now this is key. Look at that. Yoma 74 is now back down into 8th place, so that's going to be points moving in the favour of Thrustmaster for 2 positions there. Loirot and Didico. Now, how's that affected the points? It's got very close all of a sudden again. 37 points to 38. So now, if Nico Rublar can catch Calster and make that move for 3rd place, that would give Thrustmaster their 1st win of the season.
And not only that, Didico and, of course, Loirot there have to hold off Yomas 74. No easy task. So, of course, our regular viewers will know, but the new viewers, wherever you finish, you score points for your team. But, of course, when you lose a place to a driver on another team, it creates a 2-point swing. But with Yomas going back 2 places there, that essentially created a 4-point swing in the favour of Thrustmaster, and it's brought them back into play. And this is why this system works so well, because it means the battle for 3rd is now a potential match-winning one. And there it is, Nico R chasing after Calster with the fastest lap in hand in the process. So Nico R pushing very, very hard at the moment, and Calster is going to be looking in his mirrors here, getting very, very concerned now. The Chilean's coming after him. Calster may even want to get past LZR Thomas there just ahead to say, you try and deal with him, because I really don't want to on the final lap of this match. But this is it, Andrew. Calster versus Nico R, essentially for the match win. It sounds strange to say it because it's for 3rd place, but I think that's the situation we're in now.
This is stunning. This is absolutely stunning from Nico R. He's pulled half a second. It's going. It is even more time. 6/10, 7/10 on this lap alone. This could go down to the very last corner on the last lap. We've got 1 more lap to go into the Casio Triangle again. On board now with Nico Rublar, and you can see how much Calster himself is having to push, because he's catching his teammate now, LZR Thomas, just ahead. 1 lap to go then. Can Nico Rublar wrestle a victory for Thrustmaster here? 1 lap to do it. Look at that gap, Chris. It's down to 0.5 of a second now, deep on the brakes into turn 1. He can smell the gearbox oil off the back of Calster's Pagani's under there. This could be a huge, huge lap. Diving in again. Oh, he has a little look there. Through into the S's. I think the move is probably 2 places where he can line up a move into Hairpin after Degner or into the Casio Triangle. That would be the places where, if I'm Nico Rublar, I'm looking to make the move.
Yeah, he's already going to be visualising that move in his head as we come up to the Degners, and Calster there doing a very good job at the moment just to stay composed, but Calster just needs to try and set consistent pace, but he cannot let the door open for Nico R here. Nico R not close enough. It's going to come down to the final corner of this match to see who takes third. Will it be Lazarus? Will it be Thrustmaster? Nico R can certainly change that result, and Calster can do the same if he makes a mistake, but Calster is driving out of his skin on this final lap. He's increased the gap back to 0.6 of a second, and has he now done enough with only a few corners remaining to keep Lazarus in the lead, or will there be any other changes that can affect it? I think Calster may have just done enough, but the race is not over yet. It's now less than half a second as Nico R is in the slipstream. It's going to come down to the Casio triangle. Calster there may have to get on the defensive through 130 R. Keep it planted, boys. Nico R closing in. It's now 0.3. Is he going to try a dive bomb down the inside? He is. He's going to go for it, but Calster on the brakes just does enough, and I think he's going to hold on. So by 1 point, yet again in the GTPlanet League, third place is going to go to Lazarus. Lewis takes the win. Thomas second. Calster in third. Then it's Nico R fourth. Originals fifth. Didico is sixth. Yoma seventh. Loyrud finishes eighth. Lazarus take the win, Andrew.
Wow. What a start to the evening here in the final of the GTPlanet League. It's a shame that one of those teams has to lose. I really think Thrustmaster gave it everything tonight. Probably their best performance so far this season as a team. But we said before as well, didn't we, that the grid was going to be key there to see could Lazarus get control of that match or that second race in the match. And we saw Lewis Bentley there taking that advantage, taking another race victory. Again, I've got to give it to Calster, though. He's really impressed me tonight because the pressure that he was under there from Nico Rublar to hold onto that third place when we've seen so many little errors here and there that have cost people time today. Absolutely brilliant driving from all 8 drivers in that match. Let's have a look at the official results then from race control. Here's your result for race 2. So Lewis Bentley wins from 1, 2, 3 for Lazarus, and in the end, Thrustmaster 36, Lazarus 39. That is a very, very close score indeed. Lazarus take third place in the 2019 GTPlanet League.
Yeah, Yomas got up to 7th there right at the end, and that created a further 2-point gap. So by 3 points, it's third place to Lazarus in the GTPlanet League and fourth to Thrustmaster. They've both provided fantastic racing, a lot of drama, a lot of highlights for us to look back on as well. And let's just reflect a little bit on the Lazarus and Thrustmaster teams, as it is the last time this season we're going to be speaking about them, sadly. But, well, tell us, I mean, Calster has come in and done a fantastic job, hasn't he? Every time he's appeared in the GTPlanet League, he's done a brilliant job. Maybe last time he didn't have the luck on his side, but this time he showed why he was a good member for the Lazarus team.
The kid's got pace. The kid's got talent. You know, he. I think he's still racing on a pad as well, which is very impressive stuff. And I think in this last week in particular, I noticed on FIA events, he was very, very high up again in the time charts for that this week, and he's hit that sweet spot at just the right time, as you say. He's had a bit of bad luck in the last couple of weeks, but brilliant performance tonight. Driver of the match for me. I think others as well. That's the first time that we've seen Lazarus as a team working really, really well. I think they learnt a lot last week from the semi-finals when Williams did a bit of a job on them. But to come together and hold off from a Thrustmaster team that were always going to throw it at them. They did not want to finish 0-5. Unfortunately, they have done. But a really impressive performance across the board from Lazarus, especially as if they've tweaked their team around a couple of times over the last few weeks.
Well, Andrew, before we go into a break, I have to ask you, you said you saw Calster up there in the FIA standings. How far off you are him when you play, when you qualify for a travel? What is it, 10 seconds, 12 seconds? I mean, I'm probably about half a second. I'm about half a second.
I'm about 4 off at the moment on a full lap, but yeah, nowhere near the talent of these guys.
That is a lie.
In the
definitely.
C class, the C for yeah, what a C word is. Yeah, no, it's so. But yeah, that's good stuff there from Lazarus and Calster especially, and hope we see him back in future seasons in the GTPlanet League.
Well, use the hashtag GTP League during the break. Let us know what your predictions are. It's the big one next. It's the championship decider. It is, of course, Redline versus Williams. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Well, not long to go now. The big championship race is coming up next, Andrew. We've got Williams versus Redline. It's been 4 weeks in the making. They've already faced each other once, of course, earlier in the league, and we'll talk about that before we get into the action. But this is it. It all comes down to this. All previous scores go out the window. This is essentially the championship playoff to see who takes that GTPlanet League.
Absolutely, and is the nature of knockout racing or knockout matches that, as you say, absolutely anything can happen. And yet, just because Team Redline are undefeated 4-0 so far, they've got a big task here tonight to try and stop Williams getting one back over them. Because, of course, as you mentioned, they faced each other in week 3 of the round robin. It was decided by 1 point. And there's been some intriguing selections in terms of which drivers we're going to see tonight from both teams that should serve as a really interesting match.
Well, before we get into that match, we've got another little announcement to talk you through. We are doing a free giveaway in this evening's stream. If you were with us for the first match, you would have already heard about it. But in case you weren't, let's remind you of it. We are giving away one official Gran Turismo World Tour t-shirt. It's, of course, it was available only at the New York World Tour event. It's sold out there as well. So there's one more left to give away, and we're going to do it tonight. So make sure you stick with us on all the details on how you can potentially get your hands on that limited edition t-shirt. Will be coming up later on. So let's get into the team, shall we? We're ready to talk you through who is going to be lining up for Redline first. This is the big one. Redline, of course, very well known throughout the community. TRL Manu Rodri is going to be in for them again. Back after a 2-week absence, he's had 2 wins and 2 third places in just 5 races that he's done. So fantastic form for him. TRL Lightning, of course, got his hands on a title at last on the FIA scene. We all know about Lightning. Took both wins in semi-final. He's ranked 5th overall as a driver. We've got TRL Doodle there, Andrew McCabe. He's a multiple Gran Turismo world record holder. Can he be a part of a team that goes on to win the title in the GTPlanet League? And then we've got Daniel Holland there at the end. TRL Hollow, I'm going to say, but I don't know if that's right. But yeah, Hollow one. Yeah. I didn't just want to say Hole. I think that would have sounded a bit weird. But Daniel Holland, he's a world finalist in the FIA Gran Turismo Nations Cup. So he is a pretty big name. He's travelled a long way to go to that world final as well, all the way to Monaco. But he did go over, and TRL Hollow One is hoping to help Redline win tonight. Andrew, I'll hand over to you to talk us through Williams.
Yeah, intriguing strategy from Williams tonight. Changed from last week's semi-final, but this is the same lineup that Williams had in week number 3, so they know what racing Redline is like. Adam Sassuillo back again. Great form from him in the semi-final, looking to get some good results here tonight in the final. Williams for Vavros, Patrick Blatsan from Hungary, another very strong driver who shone in the semi-final last week. Giorgio Mangano, really the top guy in this Williams team. He's been having a fantastic season so far, and he'll be looking to take it to the likes of TRL Lightning and Manu Rodri tonight. And Valerio Gallo as well, Jim Bracer 26 from Italy, who had that experience last week and took a win, of course, in the first race in that match in week 3, the last time we saw Williams and Redline on the same circuit at the same time.
Well, good stuff. Let's talk you through what they're going to be driving and where they're going to be driving them at. Now, remember, they do know the cars, but not the track. They knew it's going to be the Super Formula car. I'm still not brave enough to even take this car on yet. Very vicious cars to drive. The very fast single-seaters, of course. It's going to be 8 laps around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So a very tough circuit, particularly in these cars, Andrew. It's going to be a great face-off, and I think a fitting ending, putting them in the Super Formulas around a track as tough as Catalunya.
Absolutely. I mean, this car, I love that we're racing in this car. I had a very little go in it myself a few days ago, and it's an absolute beast. It's a really tricky car to drive. But 1.5 minutes to go as we join qualifying, and look who's on pole position, TRL Lightning. Mick Izal there, but he's not got it by much, just a tenth or just under a tenth and a half from this driver here, Williams Vavros, the Hungarian. looking on a good lap at the moment, jumps over that curb, really attacks the curbs at the last couple of corners, that last chicane, around the final bend. This is his final qualifying lap, over start finish. It's quicker, it's slightly quicker, but not good enough for pole. Now you'll see on the top of the roll hoop there, that, as we join Jim B Racer 26, the little light there, the little red light, that indicates that the driver is using the boost and overtake modes that this car comes with. Let's see if it is good for improvement there from B Racer. No, not this time. But I tell you what, looking at that grid, yes, you've got a pole position there for Team Redline, so they get the key point, but second, third and fourth I think have gone to Williams there. This is going to be a very, very intriguing first race, Chris.
It is. Now, this is it. We've had 4 weeks of racing. This, the championship week, this, the two best teams in the GTPlanet League. And they're going to face it off over 2 races. Same format as always. Points across the 2 races are going to decide the champions. Will it be Redline? Will it be Williams? It's going to be Redline on pole. It's going to be TRL Lightning at the front in the Super Formulas around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. 8 laps on the clock. And lights will go out now. We're off away and racing. Lots of wheel spin, particularly for Lightning. And he didn't get the best of starts there. And Fuvaros, is drawing alongside, but they bang wheels going in towards turn number 1 before they even reach turn number 1. But Fuvaros is going to take the lead. Crucial overtake there from Fuvaros. Lightning is not going to be pleased with himself at all. Did not get that start right whatsoever. We've got B Racer 26 in 3rd. Then it's Williams Gio in 4th place. Giorgio Mangano. Manu Rodri is 5th. Hollow 1 is 6th. Then it's Adam 41 in 6th now. Adam Siswillo moving up the field there before dropping back down. And Doodle is in 8th place at the moment. Things very close, but not particularly out front with Fuvaros pulling a gap.
Yeah, really good start for Williams. This is similar to what they did last week, where they fiercely attacked the first lap of the race, kind of ganged up on TRL Lightning there, and here we go down into the hairpin. Look at the lead that Favavros has got already, and Jim B Racer 26 is down the inside of Lightning. But he's run wide, and he's run wide. He's going to lose positions. He loses out to Manu Rodri, so big move down the inside. Didn't work for the Italian though, and he's down to 5th place.
Oh, well, that's a big mistake there from B Racer 26. It's an overtake worth trying, but just didn't quite work out, and lots of curb being taken through the chicane there. That would do a few front wings if we were in real life here, but across the line they go, and Fuvaros it is who is leading from Lightning. Manu Rodri in 3rd place. Fuvaros being allowed to escape further with the battling that's going on behind, and Lightning leading this charge for 2nd with Manu Rodri in 3rd. Let's have our first check-in with the points. They are to the bottom left of your screen. We'll update all the time. At the moment, Williams have the advantage by 3 points. Redline have the point for pole position in qualifying, the fastest lap so far with Williams, but of course we only had the 1 lap, so can't really take too much notice of that at the moment. But it is 21-17 for Williams in the early stages, who do lead the race with Fuvaros, and Lightning beginning to pull away now in 2nd place as well there, Andrew.
Yeah, this has been a big lap from Hitel. He's taken that gap down a fair bit, and the danger for Williams is 2-star Redline drivers, I'd say, so far this season. TRL Lightning and TRL Manu Rodri, they're 2nd and 3rd together. They can work together. Will it be, at the moment, it looks like Manu Rodri trying to bridge a bit of a gap, or get a bit of a gap, I should say, for his teammate. The gap up to 1.4 seconds. Nullifying at the moment the work of Giorgio Mangano, Williams Gio just behind there in 4th. Again, very intriguing tactics being played by these 2 top teams, but it's the Hungarian Patrick Latsan, aka Williams Favavros, out front now as we go on to lap number 3.
Manu Rodri likewise just beginning to pull away here. Giorgio Mangano, William Gio trying to go with him at the moment in 4th. B Racer having a little bit of a tough time out there since making that mistake on the opening lap with the move that didn't quite pay off for him. Seems to just be a little bit rattled and is still trying to get settled into this race. That's pretty much what you need to do, Andrew, in these cars. I don't come saying this with any expertise, but once you can get into a rhythm in these cars around a track like Catalunya, you're just going to start putting in some fantastic lap times. And I think Fuvaros and Lightning are able to do that out front at the moment.
Patience is, as you say, a really key thing around the circuit of Catalunya. A lot of high-speed bends, sweeping bends. You know, if you're in dirty air, you'll start to feel the effect of dirty air and understeer with the cars, especially aerodynamically heavy ones like these. But the worst thing that you can do is start getting rattled, start being aggressive with your turning and your brake applications, because generally it'll mean that you'll start making mistakes and start losing time. But still, we're not past halfway yet in this race, as we're having a look here at Williams Gio, Giorgio Mangano, trying to close in on Manu Rodri. The gap is about half a second between them, but look how far Hizal's gone. 3.7 seconds up the road. He is gone, absolutely gone up the road. As Manu Rodri now having to deal with Williams Gio as they come out of turn 2 into this long right-hander turn number 3. This will be punishing for Gio's car at the moment. That's one of the corners where you really do feel that dirty air, and you can see a little bit of a gap develops there as they go through turn number 4. Manu Rodri can just breathe a little bit, keep things nice and consistent. He's doing a good job here at the moment for Team Redline, because he's keeping one of the faster drivers from Williams behind and away from his teammate.
I wonder if they've used any of their boost just to try and break the toe out front here. Because we haven't been watching them much, so we wouldn't have been able to monitor that. But that's something that TRL Lightning may have done, just to get that gap and drop the toe and be able to be in a position where he doesn't really have to focus behind and only forwards. It's very close in the points, Andrew, isn't it? 20 to 18 at the moment. It is very nicely poised, this one, as we are halfway through the opening race. At the moment, Redline are the team coming into this having won every single match they have done in the GTPlanet League. Have you enjoyed the GTPlanet League? Well, subscribe to the channel, stay around. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more racing just like this coming up for you over the next few months. So do keep subscribed and keep up to date with everything that is going out on GTPlanet. Hit the notification bar as well. But this is the battle for 5th, Andrew. It's B Racer still falling backwards, and it's Williams Adam Saswillo, who is now closing in.
Yeah, I'd make the switch if I were Williams. Remember, Adam Saswillo took a race win in the semi-final last weekend, so we know he's on form here for the Williams team. But to put a different spin on it, though, you've still got TRL Hollow 1 there, not too far behind, and Adam Saswillo just holding that 6th position. In a way, he's actually defending Jim B Racer, who's literally being a rear gunner at the moment and not leaving him exposed. And whilst Williams has still got the lead in this first match, 20 points to 18, they may just be happy to just leave it as it is here and continue to control the positions. Saswillo got very out of shape there, coming out of that traction zone. Back here with Manu Rodri, still just biding his time, controlling this race, controlling the 3rd place for TRL. And out the final corner again, the gap back to Giorgio Mangano, just about 2 seconds now. And we start to get into the latter stages of this race. It feels to me, Chris, that both of these teams, both competing for the championship, just playing it out at the moment, playing that long game again, not trying to overexert themselves in this first match, because they know that the chance is going to be there for either team to take the championship in when we get on to race number 2.
Yeah, it's wide open at the moment, isn't it? There's only those 2 points in it, as you can see, and taking the fastest lap for Williams would close that gap to just 1 point. So if one of the Williams drivers out there could go and set the fastest lap, then that would, Redline, sorry, Williams, that would take them a point further away, shall I say, increase that cushion to 3 points rather than 2. It's Redline who have that at the moment with Lightning, who is closing Fuvaros, but not at a fast enough rate that will have Fuvaros at all worried out front. The Williams driver, who is leading the way at the moment for the Williams team. Of course, they were beaten by Redline in the round robin. That was in the final week of the round robin, which decided who went into the semi-finals, the highest ranked team, and who went in the second. And it was Redline who drew first blood there, but Williams looking to fight back by taking the win in the first race and a points lead into the second and final race of the GTPlanet League.
Looks like Fuvaros is going for a quick lap here, as you say, trying to get that fastest lap point back for Williams. He's using the boost. 2 laps to go, including the one that we're on. Still the order. Patrick Blatzand there from Hungary. Williams Fuvaros. 3.6 seconds is the gap back to Mick Hazel, TRL Lightning. Manu Rodri still there in third. Giorgio Mangano fourth. And this would be a big moment, I think, for Patrick Blatzand. He's been in this team since week number 3. Has had podiums. He's got a second and a third so far this season, but he hasn't had a win so far in the GTPlanet League. It's looking good for him at the moment. 3.6 seconds the gap. But both of these drivers pushing very hard. I think this has become a race for the fastest lap, Chris, between these two drivers. Everybody else is still sorting themselves out behind in terms of positional points, but these two trying to get that one extra point because they know how crucial as it is. Remember, these two teams, when they met in week 3, the match was decided by 1 point. That's all it was over the 2 races and the qualifying. And they know that could be the difference between being GTPlanet champions for 2019 or runner-up.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there, and this is going to be interesting when we put Fuvaros and Lightning at the back of the grid for the reverse grid at second race, because if you look at the track map on top right of screen, you'll see from 3rd back to 7th, the gap isn't a huge amount between each car. There is a gap, certainly, but it's not a huge amount for the level these guys are at. But the gap to the top 2 is significant. So once we put those 2 at the back, who's going to be able to fight their way through better? Will it be Fuvaros? Will it be Lightning? I don't know what's happened to Doodle earlier in the race, but he, of course, had some dramas right at the start, and he's dropped to the back, way off the grid, so we don't really know what he can do just yet. But certainly we do know what Fuvaros can do. Fuvaros can lead from the front. Lightning's put up a good effort to close the gap to below 3 seconds. But in the championship match between Williams and Redline, Williams are going to take the early lead in this match. They're going to be leading going into the very final race of the GTPlanet League. And how nervous is Williams Fuvaros going to be feeling when he's put at the back of the grid and has to try and fight his way through the field around Catalonia in the Super Formula class. So far, so good for Williams, though. 20 to 18 points is going to be the lead. And a big thanks for that is down to Williams Fuvaros, who takes the win. Lightning is going to finish in 2nd place. Manu Rodri will be in 3rd place. A good drive from him. Williams Gio will be 4th. B-Racer eventually got settled down and was able to finish 5th. Then it's going to be Adam 41 in 6th place. Hollow 1 is in 7th place. And Doodle will be disappointed with 8th, but will go off pole position for Redline, who have a gap to chase in terms of the points. Doodle can do a very good job for the Redline team if he can get away out at the front. Likewise, Hollow 1, it will be an all Redline front row, but the win in the first race goes to Fuvaros, and he is part of the Williams team, of course, who now lead by 2 points in this championship match.
We said it'd be close. We said it'd be very close. And just as we said in the 3rd place playoff, you can't call this one. You really can't call this one at this stage. First lap, I thought, was quite key there in that race, Chris. And you mentioned how TRL Lightning didn't quite get the launch when the lights went out there. And that put him at a disadvantage, gave Fuvaros the lead. Very impressive drive, though. Great to see him take his first win of the year. Let's have a look at the official results then. Confirmed from race control. Fuvaros takes the win. Lightning 2nd, Manu Rodri 3rd, Williams Gio 4th. So they kind of all nullify each other. The key bit being there, 5th through 8th, the 2 Williams drivers Jim B. Racer and Adam Saswillo 5th and 6th. That's where the points are coming from at this stage over Hollow One and Doodle. They've managed to overturn not just the positions there in the race, but the fastest lap points as well, because of course TRL Lightning got pole position and the fastest lap in this one. Very, very finely poised as we go into race number 2, Chris.
Yeah, how crucial will that pole position and fastest lap be? Those extra 2 points mean a 2-point gap is nothing. A 4-point gap, a little bit tougher. But this is the championship match now. This is the big race. Race number 2 in this final match. Could be anyone's, couldn't it? It's a really, really tough one to call. Williams and Redline would both make deserved winners. Redline, the unbeaten team so far. Williams trying to take the win away from them, having been beaten by them earlier in the league. It's a really tough one to call, but what were your views from that first race, Andrew, and how do you see this second one going?
Obviously, it's the first time I've seen these teams live since week 1, and I've been watching over the last few weeks as well. What's impressed me is that Williams seem to have risen to the challenge. You know, they had a tight match in week 1 against Thrustmaster, which they nearly lost. And at week 1, you probably would have said, yeah, Redline are the clear favourites, but they've grown through the season. They've worked together as a team really, really well. And that's a massive thing in this format, where, you know, it's not just about winning the race by 3.5 seconds, as Favros did in that one. It's making sure that all your teammates are picking up good points as well. I think if Williams can do that in this last race of the season and keep that teamwork spirit up high, they could I'm just going to marginally make them as favourites for taking this title. I hope I've not commentator cursed them.
Well, that's the thoughts of Andrew Mather. What's your thoughts? Hashtag GTP League. Let us know what you're thinking, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere else. Get in touch with us at GTPlanet and let us know who's your money on for this. Is it Redline? Is it Williams? It's going to be an all Redline front row, but they have a gap to chase in the points. For the final time in the GTPlanet League, we're going to go racing, and it's around Catalunya in the Super Formula cars, and Doodle, a bit of wheel spin for him off the line, and I think Hollow One may just be able to sneak into the lead. Hollow One actually slips, gets back into the slipstream. The 2 Williams drivers behind, Adam 41 and B Racer, they go side by side. The last thing they want to do is delay each other here, so they need to decide who's going to go third and who is going to be the one chasing Doodle and Hollow One, because we saw in the last match how quickly you can escape if you can get a gap out front, and Doodle at the moment has settled in nicely to a quick advantage. B Racer here has to try and get past Hollow One quickly, and he's going to try and dive down the inside at the hairpin, can't quite get through. We're queuing up behind. We've got Adam 41, Favros and Gio there, the 3 Williams drivers all in behind Hollow One at the moment, the 4 of them in fact. Then we've got Lightning and Manu Rodri at the back of the field, yet to make progress, as we're on the first of 8 laps in this very final race. Andrew.
Big. Contact. Was that contact between Hollow One and Jim B. Racer? Yes, I think it was. Under braking now. I'd like to have a look at that again, because was there a move under braking there from Hollow One? I'm not quite sure, but that's the first bit of drama in this final race of the season. I was about to say that it had been a big first lap from Doodle and Hollow One to hold those positions and frustrate Williams drivers, but let's go and have a look at what that means. Doodle there, and here's the replay. So B Racer, there is a little bit of a move there. B Racer will say that Hollow One moved under the braking zone there and had nowhere to go. He'd committed to the line, he committed to the move. Be interested to see how the stewards read that one, but I'd read that as a bit of a racing incident myself, Chris, but that's probably why I'm just a mere commentator and not the stewards.
I'm slightly leaning the other way, to be honest, but he hasn't been awarded a penalty, so clearly it's registered as no penalty. So B Racer will not be getting a penalty there, but Gio did. I think that was for track limits, and we'll have to try and knock that penalty off. Woodcut will easily be able to do that, but he's got Manu Rodri just behind. Manu Rodri there through the fast right-hander at turn number 8, and just going to try and get the run as he down into turn number 9, the left-hander, where it all went off on the first lap. It's really changed the complexity of the race. Look to the bottom left of your screen, 42 to 32 points. That is the gap What did you make of that first incident? Let us know in the comments section below. Can Redline now come back for this? It's going to be down to the likes of Manu Rodri and Lightning. I don't know what's happening with Lightning, but he's not having the best of races at the moment. It's very difficult to overtake in these cars, Andrew, because of the dirty air you have when you're behind, but that is where you can use the boost to your advantage and try and make some positions.
Can indeed. General feeling in the comments, I think it is similar, that Hollow One just made the move a little bit too late. There's Manu Rodri currently in 6th place, and once again we start to see the tactics come into play. Giorgio Mangano currently being the rear runner for all of his teammates. They've got 2nd through 5th locked in at the moment, and that's more than enough at this stage of proceedings to give the title to them. Just trying to hold up Manu Rodri at the moment, and to the same extent TRL Lightning. But I agree with you, Chris. It's very, very almost bizarre in a way to see TRL Lightning there in 8th place and not seemingly making any moves at this stage of proceedings. And kind of similar to how we saw in the first match of the evening in the 3rd place playoff, that Thrustmaster had to make tactical moves at the mid part of the race to give themselves a chance of snatching the match victory in the latter stages. I'm starting to get a little bit worried here for Team Redline. Yes, they have the lead. There is TRL Doodle, but they have got to do something here about these 4 Williams drivers, just as we saw in the semi-final last weekend, blocking out some very, very high-paying positions in terms of points.
Yeah, well, that's the GTPlanet League for you. You may have the lead of the race, but that doesn't mean anything if your teammates aren't backing you up behind and scoring the points they need to get back into play and to score the points to take the win. At the moment, of course, Redline are 1st, 6th, 7th and 8th, and that is far from good enough. As the points reflect, it's 42 to 33 in the favour of Williams at the moment. They are in a very comfortable position. I'd say if none of the Williams drivers have any big moments or make any mistakes, I really don't see a way back for Redline here, but anything can happen. We're only halfway through this race. Can Manu Rodri now get his head down and start making some places here? Because once he starts making moves, Andrew, Hollow One will be able to do the same. As for Lightning, no idea what's going on back there, but it is TRL Lightning after all, so I'm sure maybe there's a plan there, but at the moment it looks like he's just making mistakes here and there, and it's just dropped off the back of the field.
Here's a thought, Chris. In this desperate time for Team Redline, they have the lead of the race, but at the moment it's not counting for anything for them. Do you start to tell Doodle, back them up, do a bit of a pincer manoeuvre on the Williams drivers at this stage of the race, because they've got to do something to slow these Williams drivers down to the extent where Manu Rodri can get over the effect of the dirty air, because especially around this circuit, it's quite a big thing, the dirty air. I think that is what the Team Redline drivers are struggling with at the moment, and you know, having that 1.5 second gap out front at the moment, it's not doing anything for them. I'd start saying to Doodle, lift the pace, or saying to drop the pace, lift that throttle pedal, and try and pincer these 4 Williams drivers either into losing positions through overtaking manoeuvres or making a mistake.
Well, sim racing is, particularly at this level, is usually very respectful, and I don't think that would go down well at all, but it's probably the only thing they can do now. But from what I've seen of sim racing and the involvement I've had, it is very respectful. The drivers are quite adamant on making sure that they don't try and do any tactics that would disrupt another player's chances of a win. So I don't know, it's a good point really, and something that would definitely be worth doing if that's the way they wanted to go down. But I don't know, I just couldn't see Doodle getting off the throttle here unless B-Racer catches him and they have a bit of a fight. I'd say it's all down to Manu Rodri at the moment, and well, he's got Giorgio Mangano ahead of him, who we are watching now, and getting past Giorgio Mangano is no easy task, is it? So 42 to 33 for Williams at the moment, and they can have got Fuvaros and B Racer here together. I'd say B Racer having a much better run of things, Andrew, in this one, which is good to see, because just seemed to get a little bit rattled during that first race, and that dropped him down to 5th. He never quite recovered from it.
He didn't, but once again, great teamwork from the Williams boys. They've switched those two cars around. Patrick Blatzan is having the night of his life so far in the GTPlanet League, having won the first race, of course. He just seems to have such confidence in this Super Formula car, and he is closing in now. 1.5 seconds now the gap to Doodle. It was 1.9 seconds at the start of this lap. And is this Williams just trying to get this match done once and for all, try and take the lead of the race as well, or maybe even go for the... In fact, he already has the fastest lap of the race so far. So once again, Williams stamping their authority on this match. The gap down to 1.2 seconds now, but the closer he gets, Chris, the more that dirty air will start to have an effect, especially on the front axle of the Super Formula car. And Fuvaros will start... Oh, he has a massive moment coming out of the chicane, definitely pushing very, very hard. You see Doodle cutting over to the right-hand side, trying to break the toe now as we go over start-finish onto the penultimate lap of the race. This could still have a little bit of action. We've seen it before in the GTPlanet League, just how quickly things can change, especially if there's an incident out there or a driver makes a mistake from high up the order. But Fuvaros here starting to challenge Doodle. That gap is down to less than 0.8 of a second now.
Yeah, it's coming down very, very fast, isn't it? Fuvaros closing in. He wants to win this championship race with a win himself, and Fuvaros at the moment really starting to put the hammer down, really applying the pressure to Doodle, who is doing a good job to just keep the gap at enough that doesn't have to have Doodle defending into any braking zones. So Doodle for now is okay. Fuvaros can't do anything silly as much as he wants to go and take the win. His team are leading overall, and that's good enough for them. So Fuvaros can just sit in second, make no mistakes, but he's trying to go after the win here. You can see him just trying to get in the mirrors of Doodle there under braking, trying to throw him off a little bit, but TRL Doodle doing a good job to keep that gap at around 1 second. It's B Racer 3rd, Adam 41 4th, Geo 5th, Manu Rodri 6th, Hollow 1 is 7th, Lightning is 8th, and I can't believe I'm saying it already, Andrew, but we're going on to the very last lap of the 2019 GTPlanet League.
We are indeed. Chris. Doodle cuts over to driver's right again. A big, huge toe for Fuvaros, and he's gone down the inside into turn 1. Brilliant overtaking manoeuvre. And Williams take the lead of this race, not only leading the match, and that could be it. That could be the crucial move. Seals the 2019 GTPlanet League title for Williams Esports. They now lead by a mammoth 13 points in the match, 44 points to 31. I did think about it before the start of the broadcast here today, Chris. How crucial would it be that Williams have kept the same team that experienced things in week number 3? Let's have a look at the onboard replay of the move down into turn 1, and he had a lot to do there, Chris, but really brave on the brakes. A fantastic move there by Patrick Blatzan.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, and that is the nail in the coffin, isn't it, from Williams to Redline. Redline have won everything, but none of that counts when you come into the championship race. It helps get you there, but once you're there, you've got to go out on track and win it. And Williams learnt from their loss earlier in the league, and as Andrew said, they've come back with that same driver lineup. They know what Redline are all about, and they know how to beat them, and they know how to win the GTPlanet League, because out of the final corner, Williams are going to be the 2019 champions. Fuvaros leading them across the line. Doodle will be second in the first of the Redline drivers. B Racer 3rd, but it's victory for Williams. A fantastic 5 weeks of racing came down to this one last race, and Williams have played their tactics spot on over 2 races. They were just better tonight. They were just faster, and they made the moves when they needed to, and it was Fuvaros at the end taking that lead away from Redline, and he helps get Williams the 2019 GTPlanet League title. There you have it. Williams are your champions.
Brilliant stuff. What a final it's been tonight, and what a performance, as I say, from Williams, Fuvros, and the whole Williams team. They had to go full send on Team Redline tonight to wrestle that undefeated streak away from them. But we said it, that's what knockout competition is like. Just because you've been on a streak before leading into a knockout match, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to take that form into that final. I think Team Redline might be a little bit disappointed tonight. It didn't quite come together. They didn't seem to have that same tenacity that they've had in the previous 4 weeks. But you can't fault Williams. They really have. Since that defeat to Team Redline week number 3, they've stepped up 1, 2, 3 gears. You know, the performance that we saw last week in the semi-final against Lazarus, where they absolutely trounced them in that first match. And then they've done, I'd say, just as good a job here tonight in the final. There is your confirmed result. Redline 32, Williams 43. Williams are your champions in the 2019 GTPlanet League. The historic first champions in the GTPlanet League. First, third, fourth, fifth. Good enough to give them the title, Chris.
And surprisingly, that's probably one of the biggest gaps we've actually had in this league. It's usually anywhere between 1 and 5 points, but Williams have won convincingly there. Fuvros taking the win, B Racer in third, Adam 41 in fourth, and Gio there in 5th place. But let's give a mention to Redline. Of course, they came into this week undefeated, and I think that alone has made them deserved vice champions of the GTPlanet League. But they'll be devastated. Maybe it's, do you think, Andrew, the pressure that they had on their shoulders coming into this undefeated, which may have just played on their minds tonight? And Williams were almost the underdog, so they kind of had nothing to lose, did they?
I'm not sure, because I think all these guys, you know, they've competed at a very, very high level. They've been in high pressure situations before. I just think they were simply beaten by a better team here tonight, and they're all good guys. They're all sporting guys. They'll gladly put their hands up and give the congratulations to Williams. But I hope it entices them to come back and compete again. I've enjoyed so much watching these guys race live. It's been an absolute privilege to commentate on them. We've seen some fantastic performances by them, not just in previous weeks, tonight as well. And yeah, as you say, very well deserving vice champions here this evening and this season. And yeah, they'll be disappointed with the result, but in terms of knowing what they could have done, I think they'll assess it and go, we did the very best that we could have done tonight. We simply got beaten by a Williams team who were out of this world in terms of form. And, you know, I've competed in situations where you've gone up against a team that are just completely on it. And that's what you've got to ask yourself. Have we done as best a job as we could have done? And if the answer's yes, then, you know, I don't think you can be too disappointed with your own performance.
Usually it's at this time that we talk about our driver of the evening, but actually tonight we're going to be doing a poll. So if you follow us on Twitter at GTPlanet, we're going to be doing a poll for who we think was the driver of the series. So you have your chance to vote for who you think that was, whether they were in Williams, Redline, or in another team. That doesn't matter. Andrew, I'm going to come to you then. Who has been your driver of this series? Who do you think has shone? Maybe someone who's come on throughout the series and has been good tonight, or someone that maybe not have been here tonight but has done a big job for their team over the 4 weeks?
That's probably the hardest question that you've asked.
That's why I'm asking
so far. You know, I think before the start of the night, you would have said someone, you know, Nico Rubelar, Manu Rodri, Mick Hizal. They've kind of been the 3 star drivers for me across the course of the season so far. But then again, we've had 2 fantastic performances tonight. Calster in the 3rd place playoff, Patrick Blatzan Fuvros in the final as well. I think overall, I'm still going to give it to Nico Rubelar because, you know, we saw tonight in that 3rd place playoff where even to the very last corner, he's thrown absolutely everything at this series. If there's one injustice in the whole of the 2019 GTPlanet League, it's that he doesn't have a match win to his name. Yeah, I think for me, if there was one driver that I'd pick into a team of 4 drivers, if I was entering a team into the next GT Planet League, because of their performance that we've seen here, it would be Nico Rubelar for Thrustmaster.
Well, if you disagree, you have your chance to say, but you also have your chance to win a free T-shirt. We're going to bring you up to show you how you can enter that now. We're giving a free giveaway. It's a limited edition T-shirt. Here are the details for you. That is the link you have to go and visit to enter the giveaway. You'll have around a week or so to do that, but it's going to be a free giveaway, limited edition T-shirt. They sold out in New York, where they were being sold at the FIA event there. So there is one more left to give away, and we're going to do that for all the viewers who have stayed with us throughout the GT Planet League and been big supporters of us online. And a big thanks to all of you. Of course, we thank all the drivers for taking part. A big thanks to the guys at GT Planet backstage at GT Planet HQ for making this all happen. But of course, a big thanks to the viewers. Thank you for supporting. We've had lots of feedback online, lots of supportive messages. The feedback we love having as well, because we only want to make this league enjoyable for you to watch. We want to improve on that every single week. So before we wrap it up, Andrew, final thoughts from yourself on the 2019 season.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few people I want to thank before we go. Our co-commentators across the course of the last 5 weeks, Chaz Draycott, Howard Mitchell, a partner in crime in Double Dash Motorsport Media World, and let's not forget, of course, Steve Brown, Super GT himself. They've all been fantastic. Big thanks to them. Big thanks to GP Famine as well, Andrew Evans, who supplied us all the statistics and news and bits across the course of the 5 weeks. And 2 names, of course, to mention as well. Nick McMillan up there, controlling everything in terms of lobbies, but of course our own GTP Jordan. None of this could have happened without the help of those guys. Absolutely fantastic job by them. And yeah, thanks for having us. It's been an absolutely brilliant 5 weeks.
I agree. GT Planet, GTP Jordan, we are not worthy, my friend. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. He has, he's done a brilliant job. You can see our Twitter handles, because we had Steve, who absolutely smashes it out of the park when it comes to followers. If you want to help me and Andrew out, please. There they are below. Forget that one. Well, that is that way, isn't it? Forget that one. This one. You can follow us. We're pretty interesting people, apparently. But thank you all for watching. Until next time, this has been the GT Planet League. We do hope you've enjoyed the racing. Click the subscribe button. Follow us on all our social media. Let us know what you thought. Watch all 5 weeks of racing back as well. Don't forget, we've got the T-shirt giveaway. We've got that poll as well for the driver of the series. But that's all. This is Chris McCarthy from his bedroom signing off the GT Planet League. See you later.